Today we're going to be talking about how to recover from a breakup. And our goal with this video is really simple. You are going through a breakup right now, arguably one of the most difficult times that you can go through in your life. So by the end of this video, I want to give you the tools to not only recover from your breakup, but be in a better place physically and emotionally. Of course, getting to a better place physically and emotionally is not going to be easy. So what I've done is I've put together a simple 5-step process that you can go through no matter what you want to do, whether that's getting over your ex or getting your ex back, to recover from the breakup. Let's get started. Step 1, use the no contact rule for self-growth. Now, you're probably familiar with the no contact rule. I've talked about it time and time again. And just to clarify, we define the no contact rule a little bit differently than most of our peers. For example, our version of the no contact rule refers to a period of time where you cut off all conceivable communication with an ex after a breakup. Now, the intent of this tactic should not be used to make your ex miss you, but instead should be used to rebuild your own life so that you outgrow your ex. By doing this, the no contact rule can actually have that added benefit of making an ex miss you. So this version of the no contact rule actually came about because we started studying our success stories, people who've come through our program and successfully won their exes back. We found that in most cases, not all, but in most cases, they went into the no contact rule simply trying to make their ex miss them. But at some point, they had a mindset shift where they kind of fell in love with the process of no contact, and it became more about self-growth during that period of time where they're taking a break from talking to their ex or even trying to think about their ex, so that's hard. And they actually started seeing results when they had that mentality. We also study a lot of our non-success stories, people who failed pretty miserably. And we found the people who failed really poorly usually went into the no contact rule simply with the intent of making an ex miss them, and instead of focusing on themselves, they focused entirely on their ex. So your first step to recovering a breakup, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to stop thinking about your ex, but what I want you to do is implement a no contact rule anywhere between 21 and 45 days and make the no contact rule more about you than it is about them. Step 2. The Stoic philosophy mentality. I've been researching a lot about the Stoic philosophy because I think it's one of the most brilliant philosophies that I've come across in recent years. And really, the Stoics believe two things. They believe that you should only care about what you can focus on. Everything outside of yourself that you have no control over is not worth your time to worry about or get upset about. Instead, all you can do is just focus your time, effort, and energy on your mind, your willpower, your intentions, even your desires. Master that and you will have a better life. The other big thing that they are kind of big on is the concept of being good. Basically dedicating your life to a cause that is, to your moral beliefs, good as a whole. And I think this is incredibly important for people to do after a breakup. Not necessarily the be good thing, but you should. You should be dedicating your life to a cause that you care deeply about. But more so, I want you to be focusing all of your attention on things you only have control over. And you'll find that if you actually buy into this, and I realize that me simply sitting here for 3 minutes and talking about the Stoic philosophy isn't going to be enough to get you to buy into it, but indulge me for a moment. If you do end up buying into it and focusing all of your energy on only pursuits and thoughts and things that you have control over, you'll find that it simplifies your life in a kind of amazing way. Yes, there are things that will be upsetting to you. Yes, there are things that are outside of your control that, you really wish you could control, but you can't. And so instead of crying about it, whining about it, blaming other people about it, focus all of that energy into yourself and doing something that you have full control over. You have control over how you react to an ex getting angry at you during a no contact rule. You have control about what you're doing after a breakup. Most people after a breakup allow the breakup to break them. What we want you to do is allow the breakup to make you. Step 3, know thy attachment style. I've talked ad nauseum in depth on this YouTube channel about attachment styles. In fact, I'm getting so annoyed with it, I don't even want to talk about it now, but I know it's important. We know generally, because we've done a lot of research in this, that most of the people who are coming online to search for breakup help or recovering from a breakup tend to fall victim to the anxious attachment style tendencies. So what are some of those anxious attachment style tendencies in relation to going through a breakup? Well, these are the people who are likely trying to win their exes back. They're likely trying to beg for their exes back. They will likely do everything they can to problem solve a situation. They will blame themselves when they have no reason blaming themselves. They will get extremely jealous over small things. They will show up at their ex's work unannounced. They will try to buy their ex off with gifts. Anything that is anxious and stems from this core wound concept of a fear of abandonment can sort of dictate your life. And what we want you to do, and what we're trying to teach everyone with an insecure attachment style, isn't necessarily to cure their attachment style, but recognize that they have this attachment style and hopefully shift it toward more secure behaviors. So what is a secure behavior after a breakup? Well, they allow themselves time to grieve, but then they give their ex space and then ultimately decide they want to move on. And lo and behold, what we found works in not only getting over an ex, but getting your ex back is doing exactly that. And then weirdly enough, it all starts here with your mentality. Real quick, I want to say that if you're new to this YouTube channel or you're trying to figure out what you should be doing to get your ex back and you're trying to learn if you even have a chance in your specific circumstance, probably the smartest thing for you to do is actually stop by our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, or take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz that can be found at exboyfriendrecovery.com. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, taking that free quiz is super easy to do. All you have to simply do is look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can fill it out and get an easy answer on what you should be doing going forward and overall what your chances look like in your specific situation. All right, so let's get you back to the video. So let's move on to step 4, because step 4 really is attached to step 3. Step 4 is understanding the difference between codependent intimacy and authentic intimacy. There's this viral thing going around in our Facebook group right now, which basically focuses on codependent intimacy and authentic intimacy. And really what's interesting about this is people really loved it. They shared it a lot in the Facebook group. They commented on it. And when I read through the list of the differences between codependent intimacy and authentic intimacy, all I saw were insecure attachment tendencies versus secure attachment tendencies. So what are some of those examples? Well, what I want you to do, if you think you have an anxious attachment style, I want you to look at the way you've handled relationships in the past. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what a codependent intimacy looks like versus an authentic intimacy will look like. All right, so here's a few examples. Someone who is codependent in a relationship will say, if you're not okay, then I'm not going to be okay. Now, that's versus someone with an authentic intimacy approach will say, you know, you're allowed to experience whatever you are experiencing. You're your own person. Another really great example is someone with a codependent tendency will say, I'm going to blame you or shame you because you're not doing what I want you to do. Versus someone with an authentic intimacy will say, I accept you as you are, but I will have standards for how I'm spoken to. Then probably my favorite one is someone with a codependent attitude is going to sit there in a relationship and say, I'm going to be the one to fix all of your issues. In fact, that is how I get my entire self-worth. Versus someone with an authentic intimacy will sit there and say, you know, I'm already worthy. I'm not here to be my partner's mother or therapist. Now, the reason I really love that last phrasing or concept is because when you look at someone who has an anxious attachment style, it really stems from this core wound they have inside, which is a fear of abandonment. But a lot of times when we look at the insecure attachment styles, we only look at the negative aspects to them. But there are quite a few positive aspects, especially to someone with an anxious attachment style. For example, Coach Tyler and I recently did an interview where we talked about this in depth, which is, yeah, anxious attachment styles have some really bad behaviors, but they also have some really great behaviors. They care more than anyone in relationships. That can be a positive. But perhaps their biggest positive is they're incredible problem solvers. Now, oftentimes, like in the codependent example, you're seeing this problem solving issue become about how they're gaining their worth. But what we're going to try to ask you to do is step 5 here. Step 5, adopt a secure attachment behavior strategy regarding problem solving. Okay, so right now, kind of our mission statement is simple. We want to take your attachment style, which is more anxious or insecure in tendencies, and shift it towards a more secure attachment style. Now, it's easier said than done. Right? I can sit here all day long and tell you, do this, do this, do this. But what we're finding actually works better is to not necessarily change your anxious behaviors, assuming you're an anxious attachment style, but take some of the positive aspects of those anxious behaviors and foray them into something positive that can make you feel more secure. So what did I say in the last step was the best aspect of someone with an anxious attachment style? Simply put, there's no better problem solvers on earth. Of course, they usually put these problem solving skills into trying to fix something that they think they did wrong in a relationship, when in reality, they didn't do anything wrong. In reality, most of the time, they're paired up with an avoidant attachment style, and the avoidant person is just getting irked by their approach in the relationship. That's neither here nor there. So here's what we actually find works really well to recover from a breakup. Take the problem-solving mentality and instead focus it on something that gives your life meaning, something greater than your ex. And this is the big thing that I think is missing from most people after a breakup, especially if they have an anxious attachment style. They feel like their entire world is gone, right? I mean, if their entire world is wrapped up into this relationship with this one person and that one person rejects them, it feels even worse. But what I'm trying to suggest is take some of those problem-solving obsessive tendencies and focus it into something that gives your life more purpose. As the Stoics would say, dedicate your life into something that is going to give it meaning, something that morally you feel is right in the world. And this can be something as simple as focusing all of your time into some effort you have career-wise. For me, it would definitely be writing. I'm a writer. I write. I've written 2,000 words today already. I have 2,000 more words to write. And that's where I find meaning. What is your magnum opus? What can you use your problem-solving skills to solve so that you aren't focused on your ex, but you're focused on improving yourself, improving your life, which in turn makes you more attractive to your ex, but also in turn gives you a sense of value to where you feel like you don't need to get an ex back, which weirdly enough makes them want you back.